Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins. Today we're going to be painting holly, and I have some announcements coming right up. So I will be in New York on December 8th giving a watercolor demonstration at the Society of Scribes of New York's annual holiday fair. And this is something I've done several times in the past. And if you stay tuned to the video today, I'm going to show you some samples of some of the things that I've done in the past where I've collaborated with another calligrapher. This is an event that attracts a lot of people from the tri-state area. There's all kinds of vendors there and demonstrations and prizes, and it's really very, very nice, and I look forward to it every year. So save the date, December 8th, and it goes, I think it starts from 11 to 4 in the afternoon. It's in Gramercy Park, and I will post the link for all the information after the video today. So I need to get ready. I want to have a little painting done ahead of time so I can ask my calligrapher buddy Barry if he would kindly write something on the watercolor, which I will show you some examples so you get what I'm saying. So let's get started. I'm going to turn you down, and this is going to be a relatively short video, but I'm going to show you how to get some really pretty watercolor Christmas motifs to decorate your cards, your tags, and your boxes, and I will show you some examples of what those things look like. So let's see what we have here. So I was very happy when I went outside today to see that my holly still had a few berries left. The birds have been taking a lot of the berries away, but I found one little sprig with 5 berries that I thought was really pretty. I've got it in this cute little jar. This was a jar that we found digging somebody's garden, and it's so pretty. It's the perfect color and the perfect size to hold a little sprig of holly. I'm going to be using 3 colors today. So I've got my watercolors. I've got yellow, red, and blue. And if you are a stamper and you have the water-based inks, you can do the same thing with these. I think I'm going to sneeze. Hang on a minute. Well, it's there. It's waiting to come out. So we may have a... There it is. Okay. So there are my paints. And if I go into my sketchbook here, I can get out some paper. I'm also going to give you a little preview of some of the Christmas journals that I've done in the past, because tomorrow on Watercolor Thursday I will be I'll be doing some of the prep work to get ready for this year's post-Christmas journal, as I call it, because what I like to do is collect all the odds and ends from wrapping papers, cards, and tags that I receive and combine them into a journal. It's a lot of fun. And I'm going to give you some advance warning that if you do have a collection of cards, wrapping paper, tags that you've been hanging on to, this is a great way to use those things up. So I have here a piece of watercolor paper. Now this is hot press paper, and it is 90 pound. It's not the typical 140 pound that you see me using for tags and heavier applications. This is going to be layered up on top of a card base, probably with some mats, and so I don't need for it to be quite that thick. But what I do need do is to make sure that it's the right size. So we're going to be using a 5.5 by 4.25 standard size card, and I have a horizontal or a landscape image in my mind. So I'm going to begin, excuse me, I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm just going to measure, and this doesn't have to be exact because I'm going to tear it, but I'm going to measure something that's about 3 3/4 inches. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. This is going to give me a little bit of wiggle room, about 1/2 inch. And I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder because I don't want to get the oils from my fingertips on the paper, because that of course would repel the watercolor. So that's where your bone folder comes in really handy. And I will create a list of all the recommended materials that that I think are good to have on hand to do something like this. All right, so there is my height, and then I'm going to tear it on this side at about 5. There we go. And if you're tuning in live, tell me where you're tuning in from, and do you have snow? Because it's very dark out here today in Northwest Connecticut, and it looks like we're going to be having a nice snowfall tonight. We've already got some snow on the ground, and it was bitter cold, but it's nice and toasty in here, and the fire is going, and the cats are loving it. They're all huddled down in front of the fireplace. So there is my piece of watercolor paper, and this measures, again, 3 3/4 by 5. And let's see if I have a card base handy. Here's something. It's going to go on there something like that. Okay? Now, because this card is going to feature calligraphy on here, I want to leave plenty of room for the writing, and all I'm going to do is just a little decoration in the corner. So I'm thinking maybe 3 leaves and a couple of berries, and keeping it very, very simple. So I'm going to zoom you in so you can see what I'm sketching. Here we go. And I'm just using a number 2 pencil, and using my holly sprig for reference, I'm designing just a sweet little decoration. So there are my leaves, and I want them to kind of be curly. All right. And then this little one in the background. And then I'll put the berries right on top. So there's 1 and 2, and I'll put another one over here. Okay, so just that simple. All right, nothing to it. And let me zoom you out so you can see my palette. All right, I'm going to go down to this end. So this is the same yellow in this corner as I have in this corner. I just keep it down here so it's easy to mix my green with. And I've got a little bit of red in there, and that's okay because I'm going to be making a dark green. So I'm just getting my puddle going. So the paint that's on your palette that's left over from your previous session can be reused. Just add water. And see, that's giving me a kind of a muddy green, which is okay in this case. If I was doing a plant that had a brighter green leaf, I might make a brighter green. I do want to start with a more yellow underpainting though, because I want to be able to pick out some of the veins on the leaves. So I'll begin with that. And I'm gonna zoom you back in a little bit because this is so tiny and I don't want you to miss anything. All right, and I've got my big brush. I think I'm going to switch to my little brush in just a second. Now, if you are a stamper and you have a nice holly stamp, and I know that there are a lot of them out there, you've seen me use many of them, you could just go ahead and stamp a whole bunch of these things and get them ready for all sorts of Christmas cards. You can stamp your sentiment, your Merry Christmas, or whatever it is that you want, and have something really special that I'm sure the people that you share your cards with will love. So I'm just getting a little more paint on there in the sort of shadowy areas. I can move that around a little bit, and you see I'm going around the berries because I don't want to get green in my berries. They're going to be a nice bright red. And I'm going to go darker still, so this time I'm adding more pigment, more paint, more blue to my green mixture, and I'm just going to drop that in and let that move. Okay, so there's my start. Now for the sake of the video today, I am going to use my heat tool because I want to speed it up so that you'll be able to see the berries that much sooner. So let me just move this over here so you can see what's happening. And while the heat tool is on, I'm going to mute the sound so you don't have to listen to that. Okay, so that's dry enough. It's still damp, but it's dry enough that the red won't run. Now I would just want to go over here and say hello, because it looks like I've got a friend out there. Hey Marilyn, thanks for joining us today. And she says it's 50 degrees in North Carolina. Well, I guess that's kind of chilly for North Carolina, so it's a lot warmer than it is here. We had 18 degrees over the night, and all the water was frozen, so I got out the water heater so that the birds could have nice fresh water. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm getting into my red, and because I use a cool red, I'm adding just a little bit of yellow to it. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so here's my red. It's more of a rose color, and then if I go into my yellow, I can just warm it up a little bit so that it's closer to the color of the holly berries. And now I've switched to my smaller brush. I'm going to zoom you back in again. And I'm going to just go around the shape of the berry, but I'm also keeping a little bit of a highlight. The holly berries are very shiny, so I want to make sure that I have that there. And then this one in the background just a little bit, not too much. Okay, so there is the first stage of the painting. And what I need to do next is to take a good look at my leaves. So if you're someone who has holly growing in your garden, or maybe you got a wreath or something that has some holly on it, you can use that for reference. If not, you can always find images of holly online. But you see how shiny those leaves are, and you see how deep that central vein is and causes that crease. And you can see on this leaf over here, you see how much shape is in that leaf. So I'm going to try to capture some of the character that you see here, and I'm also going to make sure that I get these beautiful little spikes. Okay, and that will bring us to the next stage. But so for this, I'm going to go back into my green mixture. If you're just tuning in, I will include a list of the supplies that you can download. So I'll give you a link, and that way if you'd like to give this a try, you'll have everything you need to get started. So now I've got this darker green with a little more blue in it, and I'm going to use this to get that central vein and add a little more detail to my leaves. Get those pointy bits on there. And I'm using the tip of my brush. You want to have a brush that comes to a nice point and that will hold some water. Okay, now I'm rinsing my brush, and I'm just going to blend that into the surrounding area. And with a very dry brush and a little bit of paint on the tip, I'm just going to get those spiny points. Just sketching with my brush now as if I were using a pencil. I also want to add a little more red to the shadow side of my berries. So I'm going back into my red paint, getting a stronger mixture, and I'm just going to put that on the shadow side. Okay, and then finally, now I'm taking an extremely dark mixture of my blue, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of red to get a, let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so here I am. So I've got plenty of blue, a little bit of the yellow that's in the green that's already on my palette, and a touch of the red, which is giving me this kind of a dirty violet color, and I'm going to use that for a little accent. In the shadow that the berries are casting on the leaves underneath, and that's just going to give them a little more dimension. Okay, and I can do the same thing here where this leaf overlaps. There we go. So that is my quick little holly motif. I'm going to make this leaf a little more green. All right, so I'm just making some quick corrections. And if you look very closely, you can see that there are some pencil lines here where I did my quick sketch. Once this is completely dry, I will be able to very quickly go in with my kneaded eraser and remove any little signs of graphite that may be left behind. So that's my very quick holly lesson for today. But before you go, I want to show you some examples of how I've used those types of holly to decorate different cards and boxes. So here we go. Let me get my samples out. Hey Bev, it has been a while. What's the temps where you're at, Beverly? Tell us, do you have, is it chilly? So here is a little pile of, let me get this palette out of the way. Okay, so here I have a collection of various holly cards and tags that I've painted in the past. And this tag on the top, let me get you so you can see it a little better. Here we go. So this tag actually has a little bit of the beautiful gold accent on there, and I hope the camera's picking that up. But this is a tag that has that opens up. It's got an area on the inside, so you can write a little message and personalize whatever it is that you're using this on. And I painted the holly with the berries and then added a stamped sentiment with the Merry Christmas stamp. And look how pretty that is with a little bit of the gold accent. So you can use, I've got all kinds of gold that I like to use. You can use a gold ink. You could use a, where's my, I like to use this ink, which is used in the stamp pad to go around the edges. If I want to give a little shiny edge, that's always fun to do. And I think I might have some samples of that. So there's your tag. Here's an example of a card just with the image alone and a beautiful red mat, keeping it very simple. Here's our friend the chickadee. I was outside today putting seeds out. They came in droves. I couldn't believe how many birds I got to the feeder today. So I guess I was a little bit late to the party and they were all waiting for me, but now they're happy. And so they brought their friends. I had the beautiful tufted titmice. I had nuthatches. I had a woodpecker, loads and loads of chickadees, sparrows, and a little wren. So everybody was in attendance today for the grand reopening of the bird feeder. Here's a very simple little holly sprig with the green mat and a stamped sentiment with a little bit of gold foil to decorate it. Again, another super simple little holly sprig. Another chickadee. You can tell I like chickadees. I love them. Super simple little one with a stamped greeting on there. Here's one with a nice border. I like the border on this, and another stamped sentiment. So you don't have to have a calligrapher in the house if you want to make a Christmas card with a nice message on it, but I am going to show you some very fancy ones. And here's an example of just a little garland of holly and maybe some balsam and a couple of berries. I added some embellishments here. I think you can see those little gold embellishments and just a little bow at the top. Here's one of the cards that I collaborated with my friend Barry on, and he did this magnificent holly, and he added these wonderful little golden sparkles. Let me take it out of the envelope so you can see it better. This is one of my prized possessions. I will look at this every year at Christmas time, and I'm just in awe of the beautiful calligraphy that they do. So please check out the New York Society of Scribes. Go to their website, newyorksocietyofscribes.org, I believe it is. There's information there about the upcoming fair. I will post all that information so that you can find it easily, but there's also a lot more on their website, and they do have online classes, so check that out. And then finally, I have this cute little Christmas mouse. This was another collaboration with Barry, and he just did this magnificent script here. What could be more perfect than that? So this was inspired by a illuminated manuscript kind of a design. And there's my little mouse, and again the gold foil. I also used some gold ink to put the pinstripes around the margin here. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed seeing all these things, and I hope you're inspired to give this a try. Now, I'm going to be posting some opportunities for folks who are interested in learning more about watercolor. So if that's something that you are interested in, please go to Dandelion Cottage Design, sign up for notes, or if you're watching on Facebook, just click the sign up button above in the banner and subscribe to notes, and I will be sending out announcements about the watercolor classes and opportunities I have coming right up. So thank you so much for joining me today. I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to be showing you the Christmas box I'm working on. I do happen to have a couple of boxes that I painted holly watercolors and used to decorate, which is another way you can use your beautiful little holly motifs. But I'm going to have a special explosion box tomorrow that I'm going to be sharing with you. So stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.